My name is Cheyenne Quinlan, 27, born into a family that looks polished enough to belong on a Southern California real estate brochure. Waves in the background, curated smiles up front, rot quietly spreading underneath. My sister, Aurora, has always been the star, the one with the perfect marriage, the perfect house, the perfect spotlight our parents never stopped adjusting to shine on her. I learned early that my role wasn't to compete, but to compensate. Quiet, reliable, the daughter who paid for the messes no one else wanted to claim. I've spent years pretending that didn't hurt, pretending I wasn't the outsider in my own bloodline. But last week, while planning my wedding, I stumbled onto something forged, something expensive, something with my name on a contract I never signed. And that's when I realized my family wasn't just using me. They were setting me up. The front door creaked as I pushed it open, one hand still gripping my phone, the other wrapped around the spine of my wedding binder. It was supposed to be a surprise visit. The pitch meeting in downtown had ended early, and for once, I wanted to bring good energy home. But laughter stopped me. Not the warm kind. The glassy, brittle kind. Aurora's voice sliced through the hallway. She'll cover the bill. She has to. It's her wedding day too. Technically. My feet froze. My lungs forgot how to breathe. Mom's voice followed, sharper than her smile. It's efficient, really. Shared venue. Shared guests. She won't even realize. A beat. Dad added casually, 63,000. All in. Once she signs, we're locked in. Something inside me snapped. The air shifted. My heart picked up speed, but my limbs stayed ice. I took one step back, then another. The wall felt cold under my palm. It was always like this. I sacrificed quietly, and they counted on it. You don't get to choose your family, but you can damn well choose what you'll tolerate. I backed out of the hallway and slipped out the door without a sound. The sky over the beach was soft gray, but my vision tunneled red. I slid into my car, didn't start the engine, didn't breathe. A memory came uninvited. 5 years ago, standing in Aurora's dressing room, handing over a check with my grad school tuition. Just for now, Dad had said, gripping my shoulder. Family helps family. They called it love. I called it debt. The phone buzzed in my hand. Dante, fiancé. I didn't call him. I texted someone else. Marisol Vega, call me. Emergency. Then I opened my wedding binder and flipped to the venue quotes. The top one, Pacific Azure Resort, Coastal Ballroom, was circled in pink. I hadn't circled anything yet, but someone had. I snapped a photo, sent it to Marisol. Another vibration. An email from Aurora Blackwood. Subject: Final headcount adjustments. Message: Let me know if you want to adjust your RSVP list. We need it finalized by tomorrow for our celebration. Blood pounded in my ears. I tried to steady my breath, but my chest was tight. Something between rage and betrayal sat heavy in my throat. Another buzz. Another email. From Pacific Azure Events. Subject: Final contract confirmation. Quinlan Moretti event. Attachment: contract_PDF_63K_final. I opened it. My name was on the signature line. Dated. Filed. Signed. I hadn't even seen it before. I looked up. The street outside my car was empty. Too empty. No wind. No movement. Something didn't feel right. Not just betrayal. Not just fraud. Surveillance. The tiny camera on the corner of my parents' garage blinked red. Had that always been there? My fingers moved fast. Text to Dante. Need to talk. Alone. Don't tell your assistant. Don't tell anyone. Text to Marisol. Change of plans. I need legal advice. And fast. I closed the binder. Clenched my fists until my nails left crescents in my palms. My family didn't just hijack my wedding. They hijacked my future. And they were about to learn what happens when the quiet one fights back. They're not just hijacking my wedding, they're setting me up to fund theirs. The boutique smelled like roses and regret. High ceilings, white walls, rows of lace and silk hanging like silent witnesses. Every bride dreams of this moment. Not every bride walks in knowing her family forged her signature and sold her wedding out from under her. Cheyenne, Mom beamed, arms outstretched like she hadn't just sold me like a pawn. You're early. Good. We already pulled a few options. Already. Aurora sat perched on a velvet bench like she owned the air around her. Long legs crossed, eyes lazy, fake smile ready. You have to trust the process, she said, sipping from a champagne flute. Weddings are exhausting. It's better when everyone contributes, emotionally and financially. There it was, a jab wrapped in gloss. I smiled, numb. Sure, let's make this quick. Cut. I stepped into the dressing room. Behind me, the curtain whispered closed. My phone buzzed once. Marisol. Confirmed, your card was used. $6,000 deposit. Pacific Azure. You didn't sign anything. You want to fight this? We go full scorched earth. I stared at my reflection. The dress they'd picked was stunning. Ivory silk. Open back. Hand-beaded bodice. $9,800 according to the boutique's tag. I hadn't approved this. Hadn't chosen it. But it was mine now. Because they'd taken my name and made it the invoice. I stepped out. Mom clapped. Oh, Che, it's perfect. Aurora didn't move. It's fine. Bit safe. But it'll work. For your coloring. There was venom under every syllable. The boutique owner brought out a tray of champagne. Celebration. I shook my head. Too late. Aurora stood, clinking her glass. To sisterhood. To sacrifice. To making sure no one gets left behind. Then she tripped. It was too clean. The glass launched forward. The red, liquid, sliced through the air like a blade. I didn't move. It hit. The center of the dress bloomed with wine, like an open wound. Time slowed. Click. Red stain. Gasp. Boutique owner lunging for club soda. My mother's sharp inhale. Aurora's hand flying to her mouth. Oh my God, she gasped, eyes wide with mock horror. I'm such a klutz. No one believed that. No one had to say it. The silence said enough. This was thousands, the boutique manager whispered, still blotting. I'm afraid it's ruined. Mom exhaled through her nose. It's a sign. We'll find something better. Something warmer in tone. Maybe closer to Aurora's anniversary palette. Warmer in tone. My voice stayed calm. My spine didn't flinch. It's fine. Sweetheart, accidents happen, Mom cooed. Don't be dramatic. I turned to the mirror. The red stain looked like a heart, split down the center. One of those symbolic moments you don't need to force. You ever notice, I said, that accidents around here always benefit the same person? No one answered. That night, I met Marisol at her office. She kept the lights low, the blinds shut. You've got two paths, she said, laying out documents. Let it slide, or we do this by the book. You press charges. Fraud, identity theft, civil suit for damages. Or, I said, sliding my phone across to her. She looked at the screen. The email from Pacific Azure. My name. My forged signature. We play their game, I whispered. And we flip the script. Quiet. Strategic. Marisol raised a brow. You want to go undercover? I want them to think I'm still the obedient daughter. The one who signs anything. Smiles for photos. Pays when told. She leaned back. That's dangerous. Truth is dangerous, I said. But silence is worse. She handed me a flash drive. I pulled their vendor contracts. You'll want to read line 17 on the payment clause. It matters who signs what. That determines who owes what. There was something cold in my chest. Not fear. Clarity. I've spent years apologizing for being the backup plan. I'm done. She nodded once. To a future we can't escape. But maybe we can rewrite it. I left the office at 11:42 p.m. The street outside was empty. Too empty. My car's rearview mirror was tilted down. I hadn't touched it. I scanned the street. Nothing. But as I started the engine, headlights flicked on behind me. Too slow. Too deliberate. The SUV didn't follow, but it waited until I pulled away. And then it vanished. They think I'm broken, but I've never been more dangerous. Morning light slashed through the blinds, carving sharp shadows across the hardwood floor. Dante stood in the kitchen, sleeves rolled, coffee in hand, jaw tight. He didn't look up when I walked in. "Isit mabait down. We need to talk." He handed me a cup. About what? The silence between us was thicker than the steam rising from the mugs. "Pacific Azure," I said. 63 grand. My name on a contract I never saw. That got his attention. He blinked once. Twice. "You didn't sign it?" My hands curled around the cup like a threat. Does that sound like something I'd forget? Dante exhaled. "Cheyenne, your mother said." "My mother doesn't sign contracts for me. Neither does Aurora." He set his cup down. "Hard. I thought you were okay with combining things. Venue. Catering. It's more efficient." I stared at him. Efficient. Like taking the path of least resistance. "Like avoiding war," he muttered. "And stepping over the body to get there." Silence again. He looked away. And that was worse than yelling. "You ever wonder how easy it is to lose a name?" I said, "One signature. That's all it takes to erase autonomy." Dante reached into a drawer and pulled out a file. My name was on the tab. "You want transparency," he said. "Here. Vendor lists. Payment schedules. Your mom sent it over." I took the folder. Opened it. Stopped. Buried in the stack was a line item labeled Aurora Anniversary. Tier 1 floral upgrade. Next to it, charge to CQ. Why would her anniversary bouquet be billed under me? I asked. He didn't answer. Because he didn't know. Because he hadn't looked. I stepped back. "You trusted her more than me." Dante looked up, face tight. "I trusted you to say something sooner. You trusted me to stay quiet, like always." Cut. I drove to the Pacific Azure Resort. Alone. Coastal fog hugged the hills, blurring the lines between road and cliff. The security gate opened without question. My name was already on the guest list. Inside, the ballroom was a cathedral of glass and ocean light. White drapes floated like ghosts. The tables were half set. Champagne flutes shimmered like threats. A woman in a headset greeted me. "You're early. Aurora said you'd be here around noon." "She told you that?" She hesitated. "She said you'd want to walk through her layout before your ceremony slot." "My slot?" "Yours is technically the morning. Hers is evening. Shared vendor contract. We love dual events here, great for budget-conscious families." I bit my lip. "Blood, you have the contract on file?" I asked. She nodded. "It's in the system. Want a printed copy?" "Please." Cut. Outside, I sat on a bench overlooking the cliffs. Waves crashed below. Wind tore through my coat. The contract sat in my lap, a thick sheaf of legalese. But my eyes locked on page 7. Client of record. Cheyenne Quinlan. Backup approver, Aurora Blackwood. Signatures below. Mine in cursive. Fake. Clean. Almost too perfect. But there. Initials on every page. I hadn't touched it. A breath caught in my throat. I looked around. Too quiet. A rustle. Then nothing. I flipped to the last page. Line 17. In the event of non-payment by the client of record, all charges will be pursued via personal collection and legal judgment under Santa Barbara County jurisdiction. A shadow passed behind me. I stood, turned. No one. But then, under my windshield wiper, something fluttered. I walked to my car, pulled the paper free. It wasn't paper. A photo, black and white. My signature, circled in red. And underneath, typed in block letters. Back out now, or you'll owe more than money. My breath caught. My fingers shook. I turned in a full circle. No movement. No cars pulling in. No cameras pointed this way. Only the wind. Only the silence. I slid into my car and locked the doors. Because someone wasn't warning me. They were watching. The photo wouldn't leave my hands. My forged signature, circled in red. A threat typed in block letters. I kept seeing it, even when I blinked, burned into the back of my eyelids like an afterimage from staring at the sun too long. I drove anyway. The Pacific Coast Highway was almost empty, the kind of eerie quiet that makes you aware of every breath you take. Wind skated across the asphalt. Waves hammered the cliffs below. My phone lit up. Marisol, you okay? Call me as soon as you're safe. Safe. The word felt theoretical. I checked my mirrors. That's when I saw it. A black SUV. No plates on the front. Windows darker than legal tint in California. It kept its distance, then closed in, then backed off, watching me, testing my speed. My fingers tightened around the wheel. Mom once told me, paranoia is the tax of the guilty. She never considered what happens to the innocent who've been pushed too far. The SUV surged closer. Too close. Its headlights flashed twice. Not random. A signal. My pulse spiked. I swerved into a turnout overlooking the ocean, gravel popping beneath my tires. The SUV slowed behind me, then stopped. 20 feet away. Engine humming like a quiet growl. No movement inside. No door opening. Just waiting. I didn't breathe. 30 seconds, stretched long enough to feel like a punishment. A gust of wind slammed into my car. The SUV finally reversed, tires crunching slowly, deliberately. Then it pulled away, disappearing around the bend without a sound. My knees shook. I stayed frozen for a full minute before stepping out to check my windshield. Another note. Another printout. This time it wasn't my signature. It was Aurora's face. A screenshot from her Instagram story. Her laughing, champagne in hand, captioned, "Some people pay for their mistakes. Some pay for mine." Underneath, typed in the same block letters, "Drop it. Cut." By the time I reached home, the sky had turned bruised purple. The air smelled like salt and oncoming rain. I stepped inside quietly. Dante stood in the living room, pacing. He stopped when he saw me. "There were missed calls," he said. "You vanished." I needed space. "You needed to tell me where you were." His tone had an edge. Something new. Something defensive. "Why?" I asked. "So you can update Aurora?" His jaw clenched. "That's not fair." "Neither is forging my name." He swallowed. Didn't deny it. Didn't defend them. Just didn't answer. People reveal themselves most honestly in the silence between their excuses. I moved past him. Someone followed me. That got him. What? Black SUV. No plates. Left a note. His brows pulled together. Fear? Anger? Something else? "Che," he said slowly, "I think this is getting bigger than your family." I froze. What does that mean? Before he could answer, a soft knock hit the front door. 3 short taps. 1 long. A pattern. Dante went rigid. He whispered, "Stay behind me." He opened the door, only a crack. Rowan Vale stood outside, hair slicked back, wearing a tailored jacket too clean for a normal Thursday night. Rain dotted his shoulders, though it wasn't raining here yet. Evening, Rowan said. You too should be more careful. Dante exhaled, relieved. Too relieved. I stepped forward. Why are you here? Rowan's eyes flicked to me. Sharp. Searching. Your fiancé seemed concerned about recent disturbances. My glance snapped to Dante. You told him? I asked. He winced. I needed advice. Rowan's voice dropped. Someone tampered with your financial file, and your wedding contract isn't the only document touched. My stomach dropped. What else? He looked at me like he was deciding how much truth to spill. Your credit profile, your banking alerts. Someone's trying to collapse your financial standing. Quietly. Rain started, soft, cold drops. A storm forming. I swallowed. Why? Rowan shrugged. Leverage. Ruin your credibility. Make you desperate. A chill slid down my spine. Do you know who's behind it? His gaze dropped to the floor. Too quick. Too deliberate. And that told me more than any answer. Cut. Inside, I called Marisol immediately. She picked up on the first ring. You sound like someone sprinting from a crime scene, she said. I'm being followed. My credit's being tampered with. And Dante's talking to Rowan behind my back. A pause. Then, you need to go on offense. You're done reacting. I want to trap them, I said. All of them. That's more like it. We planned fast, no overthinking. Tomorrow morning, we'd force a meeting with my parents at the venue coordinator's office. I'd act cooperative. I'd let them present the fake contract. Then we'd expose the real one. With proof of forgery. With audio. With timestamps. As Marisol said, sometimes the only way to expose a liar is to let them talk. Cut. That night, after midnight, the house went still. Dante slept. I didn't. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying the SUV, the notes, the forged signature, Rowan's warning. Thunder rumbled outside. The window flashed white. Then, a sound. Soft. Metallic. The front doorknob turning. Slowly, like someone testing it. My breath halted. A shadow moved under the doorframe as the hallway light flickered. No knock. No voice. No movement beyond that small, deliberate twist of metal. My heart pounded against my ribs. I waited, listened, counted the seconds by the rhythm of my own terror. Then, silence. Nothing. But the certainty someone had been standing on the other side. Someone who wanted in. At 3:17 a.m., someone quietly turned my front doorknob. Rain hammered the windows. Inside, the room was dark except for the glow from my laptop. The only sound was the tapping of keys and my own ragged breath. Marisol sat beside me. She didn't touch the keyboard. She just watched, eyes sharp, silent. You ready? She asked. I nodded. We hit play. The speakers crackled. A corporate office voice came through, calm, collected, with a casual cruelty I could almost taste. Of course she'll pay for everything. Just like she did for your wedding. Then laughter. Cold. Detached. My father's laugh. Aurora's high-pitched cackle. My mother's soft approval. I swallowed. The sound caught in my throat. The room closed in. I felt the walls lean. The voice trailed off. Footsteps faded. Static. The file ended. Marisol exhaled. They think they're ghosts. But ghosts leave prints. Half an hour later, we were at the venue coordinator's office. The layout was antiseptic. White walls. Cheap fluorescent lights. The smell of stale coffee. I walked in first, crisp dress, poker face on. Dante trailed behind, stiff, nervous. Marisol hovered near the doorway, camera ready. The coordinator, a man in a dark suit named Keller, looked surprised. You said you'd sign the contract today, he reminded me gently. We just need your approval. I set a folder on the table. Inside, the contract they gave me originally. The one with the forged signature. I slid it across. You told me this version, I said. Today, I'd like to review it again. He flipped pages. Yes. Standard. Tier 1 service. I stuck to my tone. Soft. Steady. Does it mention Aurora Blackwood as co-host? He hesitated. I'm just a backup contact. I waited. Silence. His fingers tapped the pen. Sweat pricked his collar. Marisol flicked on her phone camera. Just a quiet blink of a light. He looked up, startled. Why are you recording? I laughed quietly, the sound brittle. Because I like signatures, especially real ones. I flipped the contract open to the signature page. Clean, neat penmanship. Mine. The fingerprints on this aren't mine. The signature isn't mine, I said. It's fraud. Identity theft. Contract forgery. Keller's face twisted. I don't know what to tell you. The phone buzzed. Dante's assistant from outside. Message. Venue is calling. They need confirmation immediately, or they'll release deposit hold and bill both events separately. Time 1 hour. Keller's eyes darted. Crisis. Marisol closed the contract folder, leaned back, voice flat. You have 1 hour to cancel everything, or we call the cops. Keller swallowed. He nodded. He signed a voided form, hands shaking. Cut. Outside. Rain had turned soft. Just mist against the pavement. I zipped my jacket. Dante stood close, under the same street lamp glow. He reached out, hesitated. I looked at him. You okay? He nodded. I'm sorry. For what? I asked. For trusting them over me? He looked away. Then, car lights flared behind us. The black SUV rolled up. Same license plate, less menace. Rowan Vale stepped out. Water beaded on his shoulders. Jacket sopping. He looked directly at me. Not a flicker of recognition. Not guilt. Just opportunity. You think this ends here, he said. Voice low. Controlled. I clenched my fists. He shrugged. You'll wake up tomorrow expecting justice. But justice doesn't come stamped in black and white. Sometimes it comes in silence. He crusted my spine. Then he turned. Walked toward the SUV. Door shut. Tires spun. Gone. Cut. Back home. Dante collapsed on the couch. I stood by the window watching the rain. Memories stabbed sharp. Years of being the helper, the fallback plan, the silent standby. I had weighed mistakes, counted debts, paid for them all in silence. Enough. I opened a browser, pulled up a blank email. To 3 addresses, parents, Aurora, and Keller, the coordinator. Subject, notice of fraud, demand for compensation. Legal action pending. I typed with calm fury. Then another email. To the insurance company for the venue. One more. To the licensed private investigator I hired earlier through Marisol. I hit send. Rain pounded harder. At 3:17 a.m., I heard a soft click from the living room. Dante stirred but didn't wake. I froze. My skin chilled. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. In the hallway. The floorboard creaked once. Then nothing. Silence thick enough to choke on. I didn't move. I didn't call out. I just waited. Because this time I wasn't afraid. I was ready. They think they can blackmail me. Silence me. Force me to pay. But I flipped the ledger. And I started collecting debts of my own. Someone just turned this into a war. The phone rang just after dawn. I answered without thinking. A voice clipped cold. We know where you are. Click. Deadline. No number. I sat up, heart pounding like a war drum. Rain tapped against the window in slow rhythm. I closed my eyes, took a breath. Dante stirred beside me. He murmured, Che. I held up a finger. Not now. Slow, measured, deliberate. I stood, pulled on jeans and a dark leather jacket. No makeup, no softness, just armor. Outside, the street was washed gray. The SUV was gone. No threats, no lights, but the air was heavy, as if watching, waiting. We drove to the pier where the Pacific meets the cliffs. Overhead, gulls cried. Below, waves smashed. The wind tore at my hair. I waited. Dante stayed close, silent, protective. Then the black SUV slid around the corner. Headlights off. Motionless near the edge of the bluff. I stepped forward. Footfalls echoing on wet asphalt. The SUV door opened. A figure emerged. Tall, hooded, lantern in hand, rain thrown off its shoulders in streaks. I didn't flinch. I closed my eyes for a second, long enough to remember who I was. Not the quiet one, the fighter. I opened them. Enough. My voice cut through the wind. Why me? The figure tilted its head. Relief, doubt, then desperation. Lightning cracked. A fork of white across the sky. It illuminated the face. My father. Pale, ragged, rain glistening on his cheeks. Why? The word echoed. He tried. Words cracked. I did what I had to. You did this, I spat. You signed my life away. You turned me into collateral. He clenched the lantern. Light swung across the cliff. Hands shaking. You don't know what it's like. The pressure. The money. Family expectations. Family isn't blood alone, I said. Family is truth. A gust plucked the lantern from his grip. It rolled, light dying. He looked at me unmasked. Broken. Behind me, Dante's phone snapped a photo. A soft click. The cliff. The ocean. The rain. My father frozen in the soft grain of that camera shot. I walked past him. Toward the SUV. Under the pale morning light, I unlocked the door. Opened it. Stepped inside. Dante slid in beside me. Doors locked. Engine on. Behind us, footsteps. Quick. Heavy. The figure followed. Light in hand. Chase under the storm sky. I didn't look back. Wheels spun on gravel. Tires screeching. The SUV sprinted ahead. Rain in the windshield. Headlights swirling. Then nothing. The road opened. The blur behind me dissolved. We drove until the streetlights gave way to the orange haze of sunrise. I exhaled. We were safe. But survival wasn't the victory. Victory was this. The emails I sent were already hitting inboxes. Police, attorneys, insurance. Every document. Every proof. Every recording. They would have to answer. In court. In public. Under light. I took Dante's hand. You kept asking what justice looked like. He swallowed. I still don't know. I looked at the rearview mirror. The road stretching toward tomorrow. Justice isn't mercy, I said. It's accountability. Weeks later, I sat in a small beachfront apartment, the early sun slashing gold across the floor. Wedding photos in a box. My wedding folder shredded in the fireplace. I rang Marisol. She answered on the first ring. Are you okay? She asked. I smiled, though she couldn't see. I closed my eyes. Felt ocean air through the window. Better than okay, I said. I'm free. She laughed. A soft, real laugh. To a future we choose, not the one we're forced into. And that simple truth felt like victory. Because sometimes the price of silence is more than you can afford. And sometimes freedom costs more than money. I didn't lose a wedding. I reclaimed my life. I didn't break the family. I broke the chains. I walked away from the wreckage. But the truth didn't walk away from me.